Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Prapta Sakalyana Gunana Vasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Prapta Sakalyana Gunana Vasya Vande Guru Shri Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam
Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nrita Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Sena Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nrita Gita Vaditra Madhyam Romanchakam Pasru Taranga Bhaju Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Romanchakam Taranga Bhaju Vande Guru Shri Vigrara Dana Nityanana Shringaratanama Niramajanado Shri Vigrara Shringaratanama Jokta Sabhaktam Sa Neyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasado Satana Truptam Hari Bhakta Sangam Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasado Satana Truptam Kridvaiva Truptim Vajata Shadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Shiradikama Gavayara Para Madhurya Leela Gunarupa Namna Pratikshana Swa Dhanalalupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Siddhai Jajali Vir Joktir Apekshaniya Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Siddhai Jajali Vir Tatrati daksha ativalabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Sakshadharitena Shamasta Shashre Rutastatthava Vataiva Sadavi Sakshadhari Kintu Pravarja Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutapi Yasya Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutapi Dayam Stubam Tasya Yasa Trisandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitina Mine Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivrishesha Shunyavadi Pachatari Shatarine Deve Nirvishesha Shanavadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hariyaraye Namah, Krishna Jadavaye Namah, Jadavaye Madhavaya Kesavaye Namah, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Giridhari Gopina Madana Mohan, Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhattaraguna, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaraguna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shishirada, Nilamadhavarada, Nilamadhavarade, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jayo Subhadrama, Jayo Sudarshan Chakra. Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram. Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jayo Lakshman Hanuman. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Premanande, Haribo. Jai Vishnu Paraparamita Prabhupada Kacharya Suttara Sarasishya Marji Divine Grace Abhachar Vina Bhakti Viranta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Pratishta Viviti Samstapakachar Vaishnava Ceremony Parit Pavana Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Gauriya Guru Varga Pariti Udhar Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Gunasat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ji Ki Jai Nang Chakur Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaurav Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai Jai Param Dayal Se Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Premanama Sankirtane Ka Janaka Prema Purushottama Shri Sachinandana Shman Gauranga Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaura Hari Mavaranaya Avatar Ki Jai Golokera Pramadhan Hari Nam Sankirtan Jai Ki Jai Juga Dharma Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Brihat Nidanga Transcendental Book Distribution Seva Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopupina Radha Kund Syama Kund Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Brajapam Vrindavan Mathurudam Ki Jai The Lordship Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai Shri Shri Mayapur Navadvip Eka Chakradam Ki Jai Parama Karuna Shri Gaura Nitai Ki Jai Shri Purushottam Ketra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannatha Swami Baladev Prabhu Smaspadra Devi Sudarshan Chakra Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakti Sarva Pingna Vinashana Karuna Shingare Bhagavan Ki Jai Sri Ram Lakshman Bhakti Hanuman Ji Ki Jai Jaganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Maharani Vrindi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Mathura Dharani Ki Jai Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaurari Pramanande Haribo. All glory to the assembled bodies, all glory to the assembled bodies, all glory to the assembled bodies, all glories, all glories, all glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Lad Lad Daine.
Lad Lad Daine.
Hiranyakashi Purvasaha.
Hiranyakashipu Vaksha.
Shilatankanakalaye.
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 Ito Narsinga Parato Narsinga.
Ito Nisinga Parato Nisinga.
Ito Narsinga Parato Narsinga.
Ito Nisinga Bharata Nisinga
Yato yato yami tato narsinga
Jato Jato Jami Tato Nisinga
Bahir narsinga Hridaye narsinga
Vaye Nisinga Hridaye Nisinga
Narsingamudim Sharanam Prapade
Narasingamadim Sharanam Prapade
Tav kar kamal vare nakam Adbhut singam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanuvringa Keshavadhirta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Tav kar kamal pare nakam Adbhut singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu
Tanavinga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Jaya Narsingha Dev Jaya Narsingha Dev Jaya Narsingha Dev Jaya Narsingha Dev Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya
Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
बोल नरसिंह भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद की जय गुरुदेव महाराज की जय
Shri Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satavataye Namo Namaha Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satavataye Namo Namaha Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satavataye Namo Namaha Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai
Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha
कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो हे अभिलाषी
जितो मारा शरण लो तारा वंच पूरन हो
तुम्हार शरण ला तारा वंच पूर्णा
कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी
कृपा करे करा तारे वृंदावनवासी
मोराए अभिलाष बिलास कुंज दियो वास
मोराए विलास कुंज दियावा
नयने हरिबो सदा जुगल रूपरासी
अनिनायने दिवसदा जुगल रूपरासी
ए निवेदाना धारो साखीर अनुगाता कोरो
सकीरायनो गताकार
सेवा अधिकारा दिए कोरो निज दासी
स्वायादे कारा दिए करोने जदासी
दीना कृष्ण दासे कोई ए जी नमोरा
बिना कृष्ण दासे का ना मोरा
श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदा जिन भासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा जिनवासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा जिन भासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा जिनवासी
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
नमो नमः तुलसी तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माहत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मात्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माहत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मात्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माहत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मात्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी
जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी
जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी
जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी
नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल
निताय गौरा
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की जय।
जय श्री वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादे देवी शतवताय नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादे देवी शतवताय नमः। Vrindayai tulasi devai priyayai kesava satya Vishnu bhakti prade devi satabhaktaye namo namaha. Srimati Tulasi Maharani Vrindadevi ki jai. O Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you as wishes fulfilled, bestow your mercy upon him, you make him resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you also give me residence in pleasure groves of Shri Vrindavan Dham. Thus within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Kavya Damsels of Raj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna praise. May I always sing aloud Shri Radha and Govinda Shri Mati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna ki jai. Chaitodar Namadana Bhavamada Bhagninivapanam Shreyakar Vachandika Vitaranam Vidya Vadhu Jeevanam Anandam Padivarthanam Padipadam Purnamita Swadanam Sarvatmasnam Param Param Jayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Nam Akari Bhavutha Nila Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Shmaranena Kala Itadrushi Tava Kripaya Bhagavan Mamapi Durhaivam Idrisham Yadanina Nuraka Vinadati Sunijena Saroraki Sarishna Amanina Madina Kirtaniya Sadahari Nathanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajavishakahai Mama Janmani Janmanishwari Avata Bhakti Kirtari Ainandatam Jatinkaram Haritamam Samedvam Kripaya Tavakarpam Sadrisham Chintari Nanangala Rashudharaya Vadanam Hridayagita Vakaya Chitam Vapukada Pavanam Dhamena Visati Vidahitam Nishena Yakusha Prabhusaritam Shunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Devahena Asti Sabhapadatam Pinasumam Adarshana Bhagavatam Karotva Sarasavavadayatunam Patu Matrana Satsu Saivana Para Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna ki jai. Om Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Name Gaura Krishna. Glory to Sri Krishna Sankirtana. May the heart of the class that may create and establish the fire of conditional life of Peter's birth and death. This Sankirtan moment is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because this praise the rest of the benediction. It is the life of all generations of knowledge.
Peace of the ocean of transcendent bliss, and enable us one to ease approach. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to the living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have the best of all your
Once you chant with them, with the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself a Lord and strolling the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer our respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your cause to go from service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or rather I am following this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of the Lotus feet. O my Lord, O will my eyes will be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name. O will
When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling of separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world here. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me.
He is
Completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Sri Chaitanya Saksastakam Ki Jai. Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskati Rasatani.
There are 10 offenses in matter of chanting the holy name of the Lord that must be avoided. They are as follows. 1.
To blaster and devotees who are dedicated to lives to propagating the holy names of the Lord.
2.
To consider names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to independent names of Lord Vishnu.
3.
To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. To blaster in the Vedic literature or literature pursuant to the Vedic version.
5.
To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna as imagination.
6.
To give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord.
7.
To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord.
8.
To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities of karmakanda.
9.
To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
10.
To not have complete faith in the chanting of holy names, and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let's offer our most humble obeisance to the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatarabhyascha kripasindarbhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha vaishnava thakur ki jai. Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasta Bhutali Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Dasatani. Shrimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Janma Yasya Yato Naviyadi Taratascha Tesu Vigyaswara.
Janma Yasya Yatam Vayadi Taratascha Tesu Vigyaswara.
Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyanti Atsurayaha.
Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyanti Jasurayaha.
Tejo Varim Vedam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargomasha.
Tejo Varimridam Jata Vinimayo Jatra Trisragomrisya.
Namna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Namna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
O my Lord, Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva.
O my Lord Shri Krishna, son of
O
Vasudeva.
all-pervading personality of Godhead.
O all-pervading personality of
Offer
Godhead.
my respectful obeisances unto you.
Offer my respectful obeisance unto you.
I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth
I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute
and the
truth
primeval cause of all causes,
and the primeval cause of all
of the
causes,
creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universe.
of the creation, sustenance, destruction, and manifested universe.
He is directly and indirectly conscious of all
He is
manifestations.
directly and indirectly conscious of all
And
manifestations.
he's independent because there's no other cause behind
And
him.
he is independent because there's no other cause beyond him.
It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji,
It is the only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahma,
the original living
the
being.
original living being.
By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion.
By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into
As
illusion.
one is bewildered by the illusory
Is
representations
going to be bewildered by the illusory representation
of water seen on fire or land seen on
water
water.
seen the fire, land is in the water.
Only because of him do the material universes,
Only because of him do the material universe,
temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature,
temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of nature,
appear factual although they are unreal.
appear factual although they are
I
real.
therefore meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna,
I therefore meditate upon Lord Shri
who
Krishna,
is eternally existent in the transcendental abode,
who is eternally existent and transcendental,
which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world.
which is forever free from the illusory representation of material
I
world.
meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute
Dharma projita kaitra
Dharma Prajita Kaitavut
paramo nirmatsranam satam
Paramo Nirvashranam
vedyam vastavam atra vastu
Vedyam Vastavam
shivadam tapatrayon mulanam
Shivadam Tapo Trayo
Shrimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite
Srimad Bhagavate Maha
Kim va Pure Ishwaraha Sadyo Hridi Avarudyate Tra Krite Behi Sususubis Takshanat. Completely reject all religious activities which are materially motivated.
Rejecting all religious activities from material
This
motives.
Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth,
This Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth,
which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart.
which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart.
The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all.
They have truth, their reality distinguished from religion for the welfare of all.
Such truth uproots the threefold miseries.
Such a truth uproots the threefold
This
miseries.
beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in its maturity
This is beautiful Bhagavatam compiled with the great sage Vyasadeva's maturity.
is sufficient in itself for God
It's
realization.
sufficient itself for God realization.
What is the need of any other scripture?
What is the need of the other scripture?
As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam,
As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of
by this
Bhagavatam,
culture of
by
knowledge,
this culture of
the
knowledge,
Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam,
Nigama kalpatoro galitam
sukhamukad amrita dravya samyutam,
Sukhamukhatam Ritudravya Sangitam,
pibata Bhagavatam rasam alayam,
Pibata Bhagavatam Kasam,
muhur aho raska bhuvibhavakaha.
Mura Hura Sikavu Livavaka.
O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam,
O expert thoughtful and relish
the
Shmar
mature fruit of the desired true Vedic literatures.
the mature fruit desired truth, but
It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami.
it emanated from the lips of Shishukadeva.
Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful.
Therefore, this fruit has become a little more tasteful.
Although this nectarian juice is already relishable for
Although
all,
this nectarian juice is always relishable for all,
including liberated souls.
including liberated souls.
Shinvatam Swakata Krishna,
Shambhatam Swakata Krishna,
Punya Shravana Kirtana,
Punya Shravana
Hiryam
Kirtana,
Takstohi Badrani,
Vidyam Tastohya Bhava,
Vidunoti Srihitsatam.
Vidunoti Suristatam.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures,
To hear about Krishna from the Vedic
or to
literature,
hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita,
or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita,
is itself righteous activity.
is itself a righteous activity.
And for one who hears about Krishna,
And for one who hears about Krishna,
Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart,
Lord Krishna is dwelling within everyone's
acts
heart,
as a best wishing friend,
acts as the best wisher,
and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
and purifies the devotees constantly engages in hearing.
Nasta presu bhadresu
Nasta Praisha Bhadreshu,
nityam bhagavata sevaya
Nityam
bhagavati utama sloke
Bhagavati Uttama
bhaktir bhavati naistaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nast.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge.
In this way, the devotee naturally develops dormant transcendental knowledge.
As he hears more about Krishna from the
As
Bhagavatam
he hears more about Krishna from the
and from the devotees,
and from the
he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord.
he becomes fixed in devotional service to the Lord.
Tadarajas tamo bhava
Darajastamo Bhava,
kamalobhadayasche
Kamalobhadaya,
chaitataranabhidam
Chaitaitaranavidam,
stitvam sattve prasidati.
Tam Sattve Prasidati.
By a development of devotional service,
By development of devotional
one
service,
becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance,
one becomes freed from the mode of passion
and thus material lust and avarice are diminished.
and that's material loss and avarice are diminished.
Evam prasana manaso
Evam prasanamana
bhagavat bhakti yogataha
Bhagavat Bhakti Yoga
bhagavat tattva vijnanam
Bhagavat Tattva
mukta
Vijnana
sangasya jayate.
Mukta Sangasya
When these
Jayate.
impurities are wiped away,
When these impurities are
the
wiped
candidate
away,
remains steady in his position of pure
the
goodness,
candidate remains steady in his position of pure
becomes
goodness,
enlivened by devotional service,
becomes enlivened by devotional
and
service,
understands the science of God perfectly.
and understands the science of God
Vidyate Hridaya Grantis.
Vidyate Rudaya Grantis.
Chidyante Sarvasamsaya.
Chidyante Sarvasam.
Siyante Chashikarmani.
Chidyante Sachakarmani.
Drista Evatmanishware.
Drista Evatmanishware.
Thus Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection
Thus the Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knots of material
and enables
affection,
one to come at once to the stage of a Samsayam Samagram.
and enables one to come at once to the stage of assumption.
Understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead.
Understanding the supreme absolute true personality of Godhead.
Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness
Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees in Krishna consciousness
can one understand the science of Krishna.
can one understand the science of Krishna.
Shri Guru Vastika prayers ki jai. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it.
The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on the forest.
So the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of
So
material
the spiritual
existence.
master delivers the material afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire.
From my respectful obeisance to Lotus Feet is such spiritual master who is an ocean of auspicious qualities.
From my respectful obeisance to the Lord of the such a spiritual master with an ocean of auspicious qualities.
Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing musical instruments.
Chanting the holy name, dancing, ecstasy, singing, and playing musical instruments.
The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya
The
Mahaprabhu.
spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Because he's relishing mellows of pure devotion within his mind.
Because he's relishing the mellows of pure devotion within
Sometimes
his
his hair stands on end.
mind. Sometimes his hair stands on end.
Sometimes his hair stands on end. He feels quivering in his body,
He feels quivering in his body,
and tears flow from his eyes like waves.
and tears flow from his eyes like
I offer my respectful obeisance to Lotus Feet as such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Radha and
The
Krishna.
spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship, Shri Radha and Krishna.
He also engages his disciples in such worship.
He also engages his disciples in such
They
worship.
dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments,
They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments,
clean their temple,
clean their
and
temple,
perform other similar worship of the Lord.
and perform other similar worship with the
I
Lord.
offer my respectful obeisance to Lotus Feet as such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lotus feet of such a spiritual
The
master.
spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious
The
food,
spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food.
analyzed as that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked.
And then that's which the lick, chewed, drunk, and sacked.
When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasada,
When the spiritual master sees that his devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasad,
he is satisfied.
he is
I
satisfied.
offer my respectful obeisance to Lotus Feet as such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava.
The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava,
And their qualities, names, and forms.
and the qualities, name, and form.
The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment.
The spiritual master aspires to relish these every
I
moment.
offer my respectful obeisance to Lotus Feet of such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance to the Lotus feet of such a spiritual
The
master.
spiritual master is very dear because he's expert in assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of
The
Vrindavan.
spiritual master is very dear because he's the expert in assisting the gopis who in different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavan.
I offer my most humble obeisance to Lotus Feet as such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto Lotus feet
Mhm.
of such a spiritual master.
The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord.
The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he's the most confidential servant of the Lord.
This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all
This
authorities.
is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities.
Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance to Lotus Feet as such a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna.
Therefore, I'm of humble obeisance unto the Lord of such a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna.
By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna.
By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction.
Without
of
the
Krishna.
grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement.
Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make advancement.
And therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master.
Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master.
At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of my spiritual
At
master.
least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisance unto Lord, my spiritual
Shri
master.
Brahma Samhita ki jai. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Nadiraja Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sakchit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karana
Chintamani Prakadasatma Sukalpa Vriksha
Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Viksha
Laksha Vritesu Surabhira Vipaliantam
Laksha Vitesi Surabhira Vipalayantam
Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambhrama Sevyamanam
Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambhrama Sevyamanam
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Venam Konanda Arvinda Dalayataksham
Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dailataksham
Marhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam
Param Vata Samasitam Buddha Sundaram
Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Sobham
Kandarva Koti Kamaniya Vishesha
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Alola Chandra Kala Sadvanamaya Vamsi
Alola Chandra Kala Sarvanamalya Vamsi
Ratnam Gadam Pranayakeli Kalavilasam
Ranang Gadam Pranaya Keli Kala Vilas
Shyamam Jivanga Lalita Nitra Prakasam
Syamam Trivanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasam
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti
Angani Yasha Sakalindriya Vrittimanti
Asyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti
Asyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jagan
Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya
Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjala Vigrahasya
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam
Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam
Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha
Adyam Purana Purusham Navajovanam
Vedesu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto
Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Pantastu Koti Satavatsara Sampagam Yo
Pantastu Koti Satavatsara Sampragam
Vayuratapi Manaso Muni Pungamanam
Vayo Ratapi Manaso Muni Pungaman
Sopyasti Yat Prapadasimya Vichintya Tattve
Sopyasti Yat Prapadasimya Vichinchata
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Ekopya Sora Chayatum Jagadanda Kotim
Ekopya Sura Chayitum Jagananda Kutim
Yaschaktirasti Jagadanda Chayayadanta
Shakti Rasti Jagananda Chayayadanta
Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam
Andatarasta Paramanu Chayantarashtam
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manajasta
Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyom Anujastate
Sampraptya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusaha
Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusha
Suktaryameva Nigama Pratitaistuvanti
Shuktim Yam Eva Nigama Pratitestu Vanti
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Patibhavitabhis
Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhakita
Tabirya Eva Nijarupa Taya Kalabi
Tabiya Eva Nijarupa Taya Kalyati
Goloka Eva Nivasata Kilatma Bhuto
Goloka Eva Nisatyat Kilamatma Bhuto
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena
Premanjana
Sadeva
Churita Bhakti
Hridayesa
Vitlochane
Santak Sadaiva Hridayesu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam
Yam Syama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena
Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vitlochane
Santak Sadaiva Hridayesu Vilokayanti
Santa Sadeva Videshu Viloyaka
Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam
Yam Syama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham
Ramadi Murti Sutkalani Amenatistan
Ramadi Moti Shukalani Yame
Nana Avatara Makarod Bhuvanesu Kintu
Nana Vatara Makarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu
Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramaha Pumamyo
Krishna Swayam Samprabhavat Parama Pumanyo
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham tamaham bhajami.
Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagananda Koti
Yasya Prabha Prabhavatu Jagananda Kuti.
Kotishvasesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Binam
Kotya Swashesha Visnudi Vibhuti
Tad
Bhimam.
Brahmaniskalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam
Tad Brahmaniskalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam.
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Maya Hiyasya Jagadanda Satani Sute
Maya Yasya Jagananda Satani Sute.
Targunya Tad Vishaya Veda Vitayamana
Teguna Tarvishaya Veda Vitayamana.
Sattva Pralambi Parasattvam Visuddha Sattvam
Sattva Valambi Parasattvam Visuddha Sattvam.
Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmataya Manasu
Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmataya Manasu.
Ya Praninam Pratifalam Smaratam Upetya
Praninam Pratipalam Smaratam Upeti.
Lila Yatena Bhuvanani Jaya Yajasram
Lila Yitena Bhuvanani Jijasha.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Goloka Namni Nijadamni Talecha Tasya
Goloka Namni Nijadamni Talecha Tesya.
Devi Mahesa Haridama Sute Sutesu
Devi Mahesha Haridama Sute Sute.
Te Te Prabhava Nichaya Vitascha Yena
Tete Prabhava Nichaya Vihitascha Yena.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Shristi Stati Pralaya Sadhava Saktireka
Sristi
Jayeva
Stiti
Yasya
Pralaya
Bhuvanani
Sadhana Shakti Reka.
Jayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga
Jayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga.
Ichanurupam Apyasya Chachesta Tesa
Icha Rupam Apiyasya Chachista Tsisa.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Shiram Yata Dadi Vikara Visesa Yoga
Kiram Yata Dari Vikara Vishesha Yoga.
Sanjayate Nahitata Pritagasti Hetoho
Sanjayate Nahitata Pritak Asti Hetu.
Yasambutam Apitata Samapaiti Karyat
Yasambutam Apitata Samupaitika.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Deepacha Eva Hidasantaram Abhyupetya
Deepachi Eva Ida Santaramupapetya.
Deepayate Vivita Hetu Samanudharma
Deepaya Devirita Hetu Samana Dhamma.
Yastadrik Eva Hicha Vishnu Taya Vibhati
Yastadrik Eva Icha Vishnu Taya Vibhati.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Yakarna Narna Vajale Bhajatisma Yoga
Yakana Narva Jaleva Jatisma Yoga.
Nidram Ananta Jagadanda Saroma Kupaha
Nidram Ananta Jagananda Saruma Kupa.
Adhara Shakti Mavalambya Param Swamurtim
Adhara Shakti Mavalambya Param
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Yasyaika Nisvasita Kalam Atavalambya
Yasheka Nisvasakalam Atarvalam.
Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagananda Nataha
Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagananda Nata.
Vishnur Mahansa Vishnur Mahansa Yasya Kala Vishesho
Vishnu Mahansa Yasha Kala Vishesha.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Vasvam Yatasma Sakalesu Vinijesu Tejaha
Ashvan Yatasma Sakaleshu Nijay
Sriyam Kiyat Prakatayat Apitadvadatra
Sriyam Kiyat Prakatayat Chapitadvadat.
Brahmaya Esa Jagadanda Vidana Karta
Brahmaya Esha Jagananda Vidana Karta.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Yat Pada Palava Yugam Vinidaya Kumbha
Yat Pada Palava Yugan Vinidaya.
Vande Pranama Samaye Suganadi Raja
Vindre Pranama Samaye Satganadi Raja.
Vignam Vinhantum Alamasya Jagatrayasya
Vignam Vihantum Alamasya Jagatrayasya.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Agnir Mahi Gaganamambu Marudisascha
Agnir Mahi Gagana Ambu Maruti
Kalas Tatatma Manasitti Jagatrayani
Kalasta Dharma Manasirti Jagatrayani.
Yasmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yamcha
Yasma Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yamcha.
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Yaschak Suresa Savita Sakalagrahanam
Yakshachur Esha Savita
Raja Samasta Suramurti Rasesa Tejaha Yasya Gaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakra Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Dharmo Tapapa Nichaya Sutayastapamsi Ramadi Kita Patagava Dayascha Jiva Jivaha Yadata Matra Vibhava Prakata Prabhava Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yastrindra Gopa Matavendra Maho Swakarma Bandhana Rupa Falabhajana Matanoti Karmani Nidahati Kintu Karmani Nidahati Kintu Chabakti Bhajam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Vitti Vatsalya Moha Guru Gaurav Vasevya Bhavahai Sanchintya Tasya Sadrisim Tanamapurete Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shriyakanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravu Druma Bhumish Chintamani Ganamayi Toyam Amritam Kata Ganam Natyam Gamanam Apibamsi Priyasaki Chid Anandam Jyoti Param Apitad Asvadyam Apicha Sayatra Shiradi Bihi Shravati Shirabi Vyas Shasu Mahan Nime Sardak Yuva Vrajati Nahiyat Trapisamaya Bhaje Svita Dvipam Tamaham Iha Golakam Itiyam Vidantaste Santakshiti Viralachara Katipaye Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Verse number 22. Yasmad Andam Virajajne Bhutendriya Gunatmakaha Tadravyam Adyagad Vishwam Gobi Surya Ivatapan. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. From that personality of Godhead, all the universal globes and the universal form with all material elements, qualities, and senses are generated. Yet he is aloof from such material manifestations, like the sun, which is separate from its rays and heat. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Truth has been ascertained in the previous verse as Purusha or the Purushottama, the Supreme Person. The Absolute Person is the Ishvara or the Supreme Controller by his different energies. The Ekapad Vibhuti manifestation of the material energy of the Lord is just like one of the many mistresses of the Lord by whom the Lord is not so much attracted, as indicated in the language of the Gita, Bina Pakriti. But the region of the Tripad Vibhuti, being a pure spiritual manifestation of the energy of the Lord, is, so to speak, more attractive to him. The Lord therefore generates the material manifestations by impregnating the material energy, and then, within the manifestation, he expands himself as the gigantic form of the Vishwarupa. The Vishwarupa, as it is shown to Arjuna, is not the original form of the Lord. The original form of the Lord is the transcendental form of Purushottama, or Krishna himself. It is very nicely explained herein that he expands himself just like the sun. The sun expands itself by its terrible heat and rays. Yet the sun is always aloof from such rays and heat. The impersonal list takes into consideration the rays of the Lord without any information of the tangible, transcendental, eternal form of the Lord, known as Krishna. Therefore, Krishna, in his supreme personal form with two hands and flute, is bewildering for the impersonalists who can accommodate only the gigantic Vishwarupa of the Lord. They should know that the rays of the sun are secondary to the sun, and similarly, the impersonal gigantic form of the Lord, as is secondary to the is also secondary to the personal form as Purushottama. The Brahma Samhita 5.37 confirms this statement as follows: Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Pratibhavita Vistabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nibsat Akilatma Bhuto Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. The Supreme Personality Godhead Govinda, the one who enlivens the senses of everyone by his personal bodily rays, resides in his transcendental abode called Goloka, yet he is present in every nook and corner of his creation by expansion of happy spiritual rays, equal in power to his personal potency of bliss. He is therefore simultaneously personal and impersonal by his inconceivable potency, or he is the one without a second, displaying complete unity in a diversity of material and spiritual manifestations. He is separate from everything, and still nothing is different from him. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. From the personality of Godhead, all the universal globes and the universal form, with all material elements, qualities, and senses, are generated. Yet he is aloof from such material manifestations, like the sun, which is separate from its rays and heat. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this is an elaborate explanation of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, or simultaneously and inconceivably one and different, which no one else can emulate. In other words, Brahma or Lord Shiva, they may partially be able to do things like the Lord, but they cannot do it completely as the Lord. And therefore, even they are bewildered when they contemplate the Lord and his transcendental activities. So, first point here is that the Lord is known as Purushottama, the Supreme Person. So this is also nicely explained in the 15th chapter, where it says, Yasmat sharam atitoham aksharat apichotama atosmi loke vedhe cha pratitai purushottama. So it says, because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. So this word, Purusha Uttama, means that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to, no one is greater than him. It's 15:18. So Prabhupada says in the purport, no one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now, it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that living entities enter into the conditioned state, or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see Krishna is known as Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. So when it comes to Sat, you and I as jivas are, in a sense, equal to Krishna, because we're never born and we never die. We are fully eternal, like Krishna. when it comes to Chit, knowledge, Krishna has infinite knowledge and we have very limited knowledge. And Ananda, bliss, Krishna has unending bliss, and we can also experience that unending, always increasing bliss. So the main point is that when it comes to Chit or knowledge, we can never be equal to Krishna or greater than Krishna. We're always subordinate to him. As far as eternity goes, we also experience eternity in our liberated state. And as far as Ananda goes, we experience Ananda in our liberated stage. So the quantitative difference comes when we talk about Chit, the knowledge. Krishna is all-knowing, and we can never emulate his knowing. We know this body, that's about all we know. Krishna knows all bodies. We know what we're thinking. Krishna knows what everyone is thinking and desiring and willing all the time. So that can never be emulated by any living entity. Okay, so then it says, now it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think of the Supreme Lord and living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. So, not only he has unlimited knowledge, he has unlimited potencies also. So living entities cannot emulate his unlimited potencies. They can have certain amazing potencies and knowledge, like Lord Brahma, but even he, who is topmost living entity in the universe, he doesn't even come close to Krishna's knowledge and his potencies. So then it says, it is incorrect to think of the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between their personalities. The word Uttama is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay? The word Loke signifies in the Purusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures, as confirmed in the Nirukti dictionary, Lokyate Vidarto Nena. The purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. Well, Smriti scriptures means what's spoken about Krishna. The Supreme Lord, in his localized aspect of Paramatma, is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in the Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad 8.12.3. Tavad eva samprasado smaj sharirat samuttaya param jyotirupam sampadya svena rupen abhinish padyate sa uttama purushaha. The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Then in his form he remains in his spiritual identity. That supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma. By incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parasara, meaning Vedavyas, he explains the Vedic knowledge as Vedavyas, Dasa, or Vyasadeva. Okay, so these are all incomprehensible things for mundane people. That Krishna can have so much powers and knowledge and energies, and he can perform simultaneously contradictory activities. These are all inconceivable things that just confuse people because they can't even imagine it as someone so powerful as Krishna. So therefore, Krishna says, Yomam evam samudo janati purushottama sasarvavid bhajanti mam sarva bhavina bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, again, Purushottama, the Supreme Purusha, person, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. So, unless we're free of doubts, we cannot really understand much about Krishna, nor can we experience transcendental bliss in devotional service. And, of course, we will be chained to bad habits in that state. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, there are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities and the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now, in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the Absolute Truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still, there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the absolute truth and the living entities to be one and the same. So, this is the dilemma of the Mayavadis. They think that they can equal Krishna in all respects and become Krishna. They're a crazy proposition because they don't really understand the unlimited and inconceivable powers that the Lord has. They try and bring him down to a mundane level like themselves. Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. So that's what we're doing, right? When you come to class, we're learning by oral reception. Somebody speaks, somebody hears. And both persons are learning, one by speaking, one by hearing. And that's if we repeat the words of the Acharyas and Krishna. If we make things up, then nobody's learning anything, neither the hearer nor the speaker. Right? Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. And oral is A-U-R-A-L, not O-R-A-L, although they're pronounced the same. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representative. Here Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from the source. Simply to hear, like the hogs, is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from the Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. And what is the purpose of the Vedas? Vedaischa sarvaham eva vedya. It's to bring us back to Krishna consciousness, to Krishna. The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it's to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. He has already come to the point because he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all preliminary processes of understanding. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that one has to surrender there, all his speculation for so many years and lives is a useless waste of time. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we don't want to waste our time. We want to obviously make spiritual advancement. So this is the first point, that Krishna is Purushottama, the Supreme Absolute Personality Godhead. And second point is that he's Ishvara, the Supreme Controller, by his different energies. So that Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Nadiraja Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. And then the Lord therefore generates the material manifestations by impregnating the material energy, and then within the manifestation he expands himself as the gigantic form of the Virata Rupa. So when he expands himself as the Vishwarupa, this again is also incomprehensible. How can a person encompass the whole universe that's contained within him and has this universal body that is made up of everything? It's very hard to comprehend such a thing, such a gigantic form. And there's not only one universe, there are many universes, unlimited number of universes. And in each universe there are unlimited numbers of planets with unlimited numbers of living entities. So how someone can have so much energy is incomprehensible. You see. So therefore it's not surprising that the scientists are baffled. They don't even want to touch the subject of Krishna because they can't even calculate when he appeared. How is it that there are inhabitants of every planet in the universe? They haven't even understood that. Right? They think that most planets are uninhabited. And the energy of the sun is illuminating the whole universe. They think every star has the emitting power, but every star is simply simply the mirror representation of the Lord. So it's not possible for people who have not had been exposure to Vedic knowledge by bona fide devotees. It's impossible for them to understand Krishna. The magnitude of Krishna is beyond anything that we have ever heard or experienced. So therefore it says in the Lord's supreme personal form with two hands and a flute is bewildering for the impersonalists who can accommodate only the gigantic Vishwarupa of the Lord. They should know that the rays of the sun are secondary to the sun, and similarly the impersonal gigantic form of the Lord is also secondary to the personal form as Purushottama. The Brahma Samhita 537 confirms this statement as follows: Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Vis Stabirya Eva Nijarupa Taya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasat Akilatma Bhutto Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. The Supreme Personality Godhead Govinda, the one who enlivens the senses of everyone by his personal bodily rays, resides in his transcendental abode called Goloka. Yet he is present in every nook and corner of his creation by expansion of happy spiritual rays, equal in power to his personal potency of bliss. He is therefore simultaneously personal and impersonal by his inconceivable potency, or he is the one without a second, displaying complete unity in a diversity of material and spiritual manifestations. He is separate from everything, and still nothing is different from him. Now, you try and explain this to some college student, they would be bewildered. You try and explain it to some big scientist today, they would be bewildered also. Who can understand this? It's almost impossible to understand this. But the devotees can understand because they're not puffed up with false ego. They're humble. They know the value of hearing on a regular basis, this knowledge, and they can accommodate everything because they will experience Krishna's unlimited powers by the mercy of the Lord. Just as Arjuna was able to see the Virat Rupa by the mercy of the Lord. And he became bewildered, and he said, please, show me your forearm form. And then he said, but actually I want to see Manusam Rupam. I want to see your two-on form that appears to be human-like, but it's actually completely transcendental, and it's your original form as the source of everything. So this is all high-quality knowledge, and actually, we're going to stop there because I have an appointment at 7:30. We're getting a new cow today, two new cows, two females, and they're being delivered at 8 o'clock this morning. So we'll stop right there. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.